Good afternoon, everybody. I'm JJ Haig, and welcome to episode 2 of the Undiscovered Metric. Today, we're joined by Marco Senftleben, Senior Solutions Consultant at Adverity, and he's joining us to talk about Amazon Marketing Cloud. So, to kick off proceedings, Marco, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hey, JJ. So back in the early 2000, I started in digital advertising as a career changer with a big German publisher house. And back in the days, we had in this time the most used search engine called Fireball during these days. So I was also introduced to keyword advertising back then, which by itself was a big part of my job. Then got also used to the ad server itself, which was a homemade or house-built solution. I learned some basic HTML during that stop and scripting. And yes, there were also some kind of Flash animations for those of you who might remember these kind of tiny little animations who actually look more like a video than a GIF animation. But yeah. So then inventory management come across and also some kind of reportings. That was the publisher, the start of my career. Then a few years later, I jumped to the agency side or to the agency business, and where they're responsible for all topics related to ad serving and reporting. So we're still sticking to the tech side of things when it comes to advertising media. Next was then I was joining a tech provider back in the years called iBlaster, and we were focusing more or less on high level rich media ads. And if I remember correctly, we were the first one who served a commercial full HD video on the internet. So during the years, the product from iBlaster and then turned into MediaMind and so on was truly evolved into a fully ad serving solution, which also was or has implemented search tracking, in-app serving, and also tracking mobile, and at the end also dynamic creative optimization, or short DCO. So with that company, I stayed for a long time. And due to some business issues in the US in 2019, the business was sold to Amazon. And then I joined Amazon Ads within the ad serving business. Back in the days, I was acting as a director sales engineers, and we're able to speak on the one hand, the technical stuff with the technical guys, on the other hand, also the marketing speech with sales guys or marketing. So I was supporting my sales team or my sales guys to pitch our product. And within the last 2 years of Amazon Ads, I was introduced, or I was mainly used to pitch Amazon Marketing Cloud, or short AMC, where we're going to talk about today. And then back in mid of 2020, so last year, I joined Adverity due to the background I actually came across during my career.
A very well-versed man to be talking about AMC today, so thank you for taking the time. Let's jump in to AMC. And AMC was rolled out in January 2021 to the market and describes itself as a secure, privacy-safe and cloud-based clean room solution in which advertisers can easily perform analytics across pseudonymized signals, including Amazon ad signals, as well as their own outputs. Just before we jump into the nitty-gritty of AMC, perhaps you could just talk to us a little bit about the importance of a clean room solution and what that is, and why our listeners need to know so much about those.
Yeah, so clean room solutions, not only the one from Amazon, comes into the game when there are, or when back in the days there was the decision made that no longer cookies will be accepted, or third-party cookies in this case, need to be more specific here. So that were the first reason, or one of the first reasons to build up or to come up with a data clean room. And within a data clean room, you can actually pretty much think about a clean room where everything is clean and no one really, as a data provider who bring in some data into this room, knows the details of the others in the room. So this is what the clean room is about. There is a central place, or everyone from within the room knows his data set, his signals, but no one in the room know all from the others ones. And they're just communicating about these pseudonymized signals.
So let's jump into AMC now. Obviously, a lot of people are using it. It's powered by AWS, which is obviously huge. And what are some of the key data points that people are really looking at on a regular basis and what are the sort of data sources that people are looking at when they're using AMC and trying to get out of it?
So I think I need to take a step back to maybe more explain the media side of the Amazon business, which also back in the last years grew up from small to being big, to being a big player in the advertising game. So within Amazon Ads, there is advertising business for search, or for the ones who are actually more familiar with the terms, with sponsored products, sponsored brands, and also sponsored display. But there is also the DSP, which is the demand side platform to programmatically buy media on and also off Amazon. So on the Amazon marketplace, but also on Amazon own media like Freebie, for example, or Twitch, or also other third-party inventory, which is connected to the Amazon DSP. But there is even more. There is also Prime advertising. There's some kind of Alexa Prime advertising, and so on and so on. So there is, within Amazon, there is pretty much on every angle or on every edge, there is some kind of advertising. And without AMC, you don't have a chance to connect all these data sources or signals and make a holistic view or holistic measurement out of it. And this is where AMC comes into the play, because with AMC and the view or acting as a clean room, all of these single signals from the different advertising spaces within Amazon, again, I'm just speaking within Amazon, come together or can come together in AMC, and with a pseudonymized signal, they can speak to each other, or you can run some kind of analysis on. This then allows you to get a better holistic measurement across your advertising on Amazon. You can then also have the cross-channel attribution with some kind of custom lookbacks, which is actually also not possible using the different kind of solutions on Amazon. And there is another angle, which is you as a customer can bring your own data, so your first-party data, or even activate or enable other third-party data, which is not from you as a customer, not from Amazon, but as a third party. So it's, again, AMC is not about a single metric or a single signal, a single use case. It supports multiple, or let's say near to everything what you can analyze regarding your marketing media is supported in AMC, as long as you bring or enable the needed data in AMC.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And so if we imagine that a little bit like a hotel lobby, and the corridors with all the hotel rooms are sort of your different channels you're advertising, everything leads back into the lobby, and that's where you get full insights of what's going on across the hotel rather than just on a single corridor.
Yeah, that's a nice explanation. Yeah, pretty nice picture.
And that, just to follow on that sort of opening up of third party channels as well. Is that something that AMC is driving to do more of? Because then if you've got that full view of your campaign performance across Twitch, across Alexa, across Prime, but then you want to sort of cross-reference with campaigns on Facebook and places like that, are they trying to encourage more and more of that data to come into AMC?
Yeah, I would say definitely, because with not having this kind of third-party data, Facebook, Instagram, other social, maybe also other programmatic buys which run through different DSPs, CRM data, as I said, newsletter information, and all these kind of stuff has valued information and can be used within AMC. Again, the matter is, or the question is with the customer itself, if the decision will be made to bring that kind of data into AMC.
I understand, and I suppose if Amazon is the main channel in which people are spending a lot of their media budget and going through Amazon's DSP, it makes the most sense to bring everything into AMC, right?
So let's phrase it the other way around. If you're not bringing it into AMC, you will lose all the signals within your Amazon advertising, because you can't get these signals into any other data clean room. If you are an advertiser on Amazon and you would like to analyze these kind of granularity, so these signals, then you have to use the AMC. There is no way around.
And this is a sort of a functionality question a little bit, but I'm guessing by bringing everything into the AMC, you have smart naming conventions, you have everything sort of tagged the same. It's a lot easier to, as you mentioned before, it's the only way you can sort of analyze cross-channel performance. But is everything in these signals the same in terms of how it's named and seeing that data, or does it still require some sort of user manipulation?
It definitely needs these kind of manipulation, because you can for sure import the data from, let's say, Google Campaign Manager, for example, into AMC, but then there is no transformation happen. So it's just a matter of using the right programmatic language or programming language in the AMC interface to then pull that kind of data you're actually looking for. And it's actually based on SQL within AMC, within the interface. And if you know how to code SQL, then it should be pretty easy to combine for you as a programmer to combine these kind of tables, let's say. And you will then get from the Google Campaign Manager, as an example, the cost data and also the ones from Facebook, and can merge them in AMC to a general cost, overall cost, whatever it will be called.
Okay, and so there is that sort of step involved, which is obviously why then platforms like Adverity are so important, and the strength of our sort of being able to connect to places like AMC. But what are the three things that you would say, not necessarily three, but the big things that if someone was starting out on Amazon and advertising on Amazon, they started to use AMC, that they'd really need to know about? Obviously the coding, if you want to combine one that we've just touched upon, but are there any other areas of advice that you could provide where people are just getting started with AMC?
Yeah, first of all, I would not advise anyone who is actually fresh to the AMC business and started advertising to use AMC, because that's the end point, let's say, that's that way, where you can really get lost in the nitty-gritty, because there are so many metrics and dimensions within AMC. Only when we're speaking about the Amazon data that you will get lost, because you don't know which metric and which dimension to combine, which to analyze, and so on and so on. So just starting as an advertiser or with advertising on Amazon, I would take a step back to use AMC. But if you're already educated, you know how to run your business, how to advertise on Amazon, and also on other channels, not only talking Amazon here, then I think first thing is SQL knowledge, as you already explained. The second one would be, or the second advice from my point of view would be to make it even more programmatically, the usage of AMC is get someone who has development knowledge to connect to the AMC API, or on the other hand, come to us, speak with Adverity, because we are actually preparing the connector to AMC to make it accessible also for non-developers.
And you touched there on metrics and people understanding sort of the metrics that they're trying to look at. Are there any sort of, highlighting the name of the podcast, but any sort of undiscovered metrics that people may necessarily sort of overlook when they're trying to sort of garner the data and understand their data a little bit?
Yeah, so I would say all of the data, at least if you're not only having only DSP data in AMC, all of the data is uncovered before using AMC. Because again, today without AMC, every advertising channel within AMC, within Amazon, is viewed as his own. There is no overlap really. There is no connection between them. And therefore it makes it even impossible, to my knowledge, to, for example, make a reach or frequency report across search, so Amazon search and Amazon DSP. And these are the details you actually can get via AMC. Make an reach and frequency reports across all your Amazon, and again, also other signals. Make some kind of audience insights in terms of time zone information, geo information, media mix analysis in terms of which source the sale is coming from, which type, from which kind of device, which site maybe was involved. And also, I mentioned already the custom attribution part. This is also not available within any of the Amazon advertising direct channels, because there are only fixed windows, fixed settings. But with AMC, you can define your own look-back window and your own attribution setting.
Brilliant. And so it's about being brave once they're in that Amazon ecosphere of sort of taking those learnings that we've discussed. I know we've touched upon sort of some of the tips and tricks for people, but are there any common sort of mistakes that you see with AMC as well? Are people trying to run before they can walk, or is that sort of that lack of SQL understanding that obviously the platform's based upon, or any sort of things that they can possibly avoid so they don't make those sort of common mistakes?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that there are any common mistakes or that people try to run before they can walk. Also not because Amazon themselves made it the uses of AMC a kind of easy to use and to take the advantage of AMC. Because on the one hand, I said there is a kind of a developer UI where you can write your own SQL. That's true for sure, that you can, if you have that knowledge, you can write your own code, you can get to your report. On the other hand, there are so-called predefined SQLs in there. I think it's called instructional library, something like that, where Amazon themselves has already pre-written SQL code, and which you can easily take and activate in your AMC account or instance, and then get to the results. So if you, for example, have a running search and running DSP campaign, you can easily use the template or the instructional query to get your reach or even frequency across both channels using these kind of template. And this makes it pretty easy also for non-developer, non-coder marketing people to use AMC.
And I suppose it's within Amazon's benefit to make it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
just moving away slightly from AMC, just to you've had a huge wealth of experience in the advertising industry and the data industry as well. So it'd be great to hear from you. Are there sort of 2 or 3 things in marketing and in data that you really expect to sort of catch fire over the next 18 months? Obviously, we've got GA4 coming out. We've got sort of all of the cookie news going on. But are there any sort of things that real stand out to you?
There is so what comes to my mind, there is a Gartner study which say roughly 60% of all CMO will cut their departments by half by this year because they failed their promises to improve on all the data. And I think beside the cookie talk, beside the what's coming with the economy and so on, I think to be against these headwinds, they are focusing, or we are as an industry here focusing. I think we need to focus on our baseline, let's say it this way, which is when it comes to data, sorting your data, analyzing and linking it together, and then visualize it, because this is the fundamental part of working with data. And I think that's the main topic for this year, maybe also next year, to get to your campaigns and have improve them in terms of what's coming back in terms of ROI.
Fantastic. We actually did a piece of research last year as Adverity that showed that demonstrating ROI was one of marketers' biggest challenges. And obviously the role of data that plays is really, really important. I appreciate that we've been chatting for quite a while, so I'm just going to ask you one quick question, and then I'll let you go. But thank you so much for your time. What's one thing about sort of data analytics that you'd wish you'd known earlier in your career, or some advice that you would want to give to your younger self or someone that's just starting out in this industry now?
Yeah, it's a pretty hard question for me, to be honest with you, because I grew up with all these tech and also some kind of data questions, data issues, where when I started in the industry, they were compared to today, they were very, very small. So if I compare the issues when I started in terms of data or tech, also with the ones we are facing today, there is no comparison between them. But I mentioned it already, and it's not related to the fact that AMC is based on that, but also in my experience in Adverity and the business we actually support. It's about missing, at least for myself, to being able to program in a language, and that don't have to be SQL in this case, but just to have the full package or the full backing of having some kind of programming language experience, and also did some work in program. I think that's, for someone who actually might start in the data business, it would be a real asset. That would be an advice from my point.
Yeah, I think we can all. My coding knowledge is absolutely appalling, so maybe I should adhere to your advice first. But no, that's fantastic. And Marco, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, JJ.